I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. Isaiah chapter 14, and this is a continuation of chapter 13, the two chapters forming what is called the burden of Babylon, or the doom, the final judgment of Babylon. I also want to mention that this video does have a Joseph Smith translation in it. What the Joseph Smith translation is, this is an inspired translation or correction of the Bible done by Joseph Smith to restore those passages that had been lost over the years. So, Israel shall be gathered and enjoy millennial rest. Lucifer cast out of heaven for rebellion. Israel shall triumph over Babylon, or the world. Compare 2 Nephi chapter 24. This is a little bit longer chapter, so let's see what we can do. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them, and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. So there you go. He'll have mercy on Jacob. The destruction of the wicked puts Israel in a position to rise up and reclaim their land. And all those who oppress them will now be their servants. This is the last days. This is after the destruction of the wicked. And you'll note that in the end of chapter 13, in the Joseph Smith translation, it states that this destruction of the wicked is a mercy to the faithful. So this is a clear continuation of what the Joseph Smith corrections. So, verse 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, How hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest, and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no feller is come upon us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak, and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Let us pause just a minute here. This is an interesting one. This is the spreading of the gospel among the people. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke is persecuted. So the enemies are now being the persecuted ones. The continual stroke, this is constant blows, constant attacks. Reminds me of the terrorists today attacking Israel over and over and over. But the wicked will be destroyed. And I like that. The fir trees and the cedars rejoice. Since thou art laid down, no feller is coming up against us. So since you've been killed, since you've been destroyed, nobody's been around to chop us down. When the wicked are destroyed, the righteous have peace. Anyways, verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, and that did shake kingdoms? That made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. All the kings of the nations, even all them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of the evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, saith the Lord. I will also make it a possession for the bittern, the pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. But this is the destruction of Babylon, bringing Babylon and its rulers down low. So we have this, the Lucifer, symbolic of the king of Babylon, as well as Satan, seeks to exalt themselves above the throne of God. And it says, in the sides of the north, this was, according to Babylonian mythologies, the gods dwelt in the north. So he's using their own symbolical, their own imagery to show that, to show their wickedness and their destruction. And anyways, we're just going to leave that there. We're going to finish this chapter out, verse 24. The Lord of hosts hath sworn, saying, surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread him under foot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is proposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. For the Lord of hosts hath purposed, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? In the year that King Ahaz died was this burden. Rejoice not thou, whole Palestina, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. And the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety. And I will kill thy root with famine, and he shall slay thy remnant. Howl, O gate, cry, O city, thou whole Palestina art dissolved, for there shall come from the north a smoke, and none shall be alone in his appointed time. What shall one then answer the messengers of the nation? That the Lord hath founded Zion, and the poor of his people shall trust in it. So this gives us some timing as to when this burden of Babylon takes place. When it was spoken by Isaiah. That is, in the year that Ahaz died. Then is the burden of Babylon declared. Now I'm pretty sure that Assyria is not yet destroyed, because during Hezekiah's reign, Syria once again attacks Israel. And I believe that's what the ending of this chapter is saying, is that Assyria is going to also be destroyed. They are going to try once again to attack Jerusalem, and they will be driven back. They will be stopped by God. And then rejoice, the whole Palestina. That's the Philistines. So the yoke of Assyria will be broken. So rejoice. And I do apologize that I'm not as talkative. For some reason, I am just very tired, and I am falling asleep while filming. But we will look at the Joseph Smith translation. This chapter actually has quite a few. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let us look at this. Verse 2, we have this here. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. Joseph Smith has an addition here. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, yea, from far unto the ends of the earth. And they shall return to their lands of promise, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord. So this is talking about clearly the gathering of Israel in the last days being brought back from a far land, even the ends of the earth. Verse 3, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest. Joseph Smith corrects this, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow. So it makes it a little clearer in meaning, but I'm not sure there's a huge difference there. Verse 4 says, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. Joseph Smith adds at the beginning here, and it shall come to pass in that day that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. In other words, when the time comes and you see this destruction, you will remember this prophecy. You will remember what God said. That's what it means to take up. So to take up this proverb. That's what that means. It means that you will know the fulfillment of it. Verse 5. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Joseph Smith corrects this. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, the scepters of the rulers. So again, not a major change, but a slight clarification. Verse 8. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon. Joseph Smith adds a word here. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and also the cedars of Lebanon. But slight grammatical update, but not a major change in verse 16. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, and that did shake the kingdoms? The Joseph Smith translation. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and shall consider thee, and shall say, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, and that did shake kingdoms? Again, just a minor grammatical update. Verse 17. That made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. The Joseph Smith translation. And made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed his cities, and I shall... Starting over. Verse 17. That made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. The Joseph Smith translation. And made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, and opened not the house of his prisoners. Again, grammatical update. Verse 18. All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. The Joseph Smith translation. All the kings of the nations, yea, all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. So, again, just a language update to clarify that all nations are being included. Verse 19. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain. The Joseph Smith translation. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and the remnant of those that are slain. Now, I will say it makes more sense to have remnant rather than raiment there. But last one here, verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. And all Joseph Smith did here was pluralize it. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquities of their fathers. So, I don't know. The only real change in meaning, they do clarify that the gathering of the Jews will come out of all lands, all distant lands. But not much real big change there. Anyways, see you in the next one.